Here are some basic strategies for taking multiple choice exams. Read the question, but don't look at the possible answers. Cover them with your hand. Do you know the answer without looking? Think about it. Now look at the answers. Choose one closest to the answer you thought of. That's what English professor Rochelle Darabi recommends. She's director of the Academic Success Programs at Indiana-Purdue University at Fort Wayne, IPFW.
Good to read through the questions, carefully first before you expose the answers. And then if you have something formed in your head, try to find the thing that's closest to what you've already formulated.
If you have no clue what the answer is, then look for clues, suggests Greg Anderson, Reading Skills Specialist and Associate Director of the First Year Experience at IPFW. Clue number 1.
If the word appears in the stem, which is the question part, and you see it down in the answer, look at it. There's a connection between it.
Clue number 2.
If there's a synonym in the stem and a synonym in the answer, look at it. There's a connection there.
Clue number 3.
If you see two answers that start in a similar way, pay attention to those two.
Clue number 4.
If you have 3 that start in a similar way but one that doesn't, pay attention to the one that doesn't.
Clue number 5.
If you see opposites, pay attention to the opposites.
You have to be very careful in reading the wording, because sometimes it'll lead you astray. It looks like it's the right answer, but it's really worded in the negative. So be very careful. If you have 2 opposites, it's very likely one might be the correct answer.
But check how the question is phrased.
One of the hardest things as in a college level test is writing the test. It is so hard. And so when you can get sensible answers, and you can so easily with opposites, pay attention to those. Students tend to ignore those, and those are a key one.
It's important to note that techniques aren't a substitute for knowing the material. Are these strategies you should use when you have no clue?
Absolutely. The best test preparation, and you've already said that, is knowing the material. But there are ways to intelligently think through and reason out the correct answer.
Sometimes that involves breaking down the question, even breaking down a single word.
For example, I was helping a nursing student with a test, and the word hypovolemic came on the test. I said to her, "Do you know what that word means?" And she goes, "No." I said, "Well, let's try and figure it out." Hypo. I said, "What's that mean?" And she said, "Less." And I said, "Vol." And she goes, "I don't know." I said, "Now, look at the question, hypovol." I said, "I'm thinking of volume." It ended in M-I-C. And I said, "Think of mic." She goes, "I don't know." And I said, "Well, think of other words." And we came up with blood. There were other words that related to blood. I said, under volume of blood. I said, look at how we just take that word and break it apart and how that helped her. There was the answer. She said, "How did you do that?" And I said, "It's just looking at specific key words in the test."
And that's not your course.
And it's not my course.
In summary, look for the 5 clues we discussed. Clue number 1, the same key word is in the question and the answer. Clue number 2, a key word is in the question and its synonym is in the answer. Clue number 3, pay attention to 2 answers that start in a similar way. Clue number 4, if 3 of 4 possible answers are similar, pay attention to the one that's different. Clue number 5, pay attention to opposite answers. Warning, don't be tricked by questions that are worded in the negative. If you fail to notice that, then what you think is the correct answer will be wrong. Finally, break down terms. Remember the hypovolemic example? It's one way to figure out the correct answer when you don't understand a term.